Oliver Stone here for another edition of the Temple Wildcat Coaches Show, brought to you by Wings, Pizza, and Things in Temple. Here with Temple Wildcat head coach, Coach Stewart. And hey, y'all, this is our first edition of playoffs, week one of the playoff edition of the show. So, Coach, obviously, congratulations on the win this past Friday over Bryan. It looks like y'all definitely went out there and handled your business. But, I mean, hey, we're here now. It's playoff time now. So,
yes, sir.
I mean, this is where it's a do or die. You know, everything counts. So, how did you feel things went with the game on Friday?
I was proud of our kids. You know, we lost tough one the week before. We lost the district championship the week before. And so we've always talked about it. You know, it's only a loss if you don't learn anything from it. So, and sometimes the best lessons learned are the toughest lessons learned. So I was real proud of how the kids prepared. And all we talked about was playing playoff football last week and you know, just trying to shore up some of the stuff that we were not executing very well. And I was proud of how they prepared, and I was proud of how they came out and played.
I definitely feel it was a good showing by, you know, the offense, defense, everybody was flying around. I know Bryan was real young with their corners, and it seemed like, you know, we kind of threw it at the scene what they got early. We threw it up, and obviously our receivers executed really well. You know,
caught the ball well. Yeah.
And,
you know, I mean, again, offense football, you look for matchups, and so when you feel like you find one, you try to attack that and you take advantage of it. So, again, thought we threw and caught the ball real well, but better than the week before, obviously.
Yeah.
And, so that's what the name of the game is. The name of the game is you're trying to peak at the right time. You're trying to, you know, I feel like I don't think we played our best 48 minutes yet, but I do feel like the last two times we've gone out, we executed or we played harder and better than we have. Like I felt like the Bryan game was probably the most complete game we played, and that's the right time to do it.
I mean, definitely towards the end of the season, you want to kind of be catching that stride because, I mean, now in the playoffs, I mean, you're finna go against, you know, good competition all around. So, I mean, obviously everyone that's gotten the playoffs, I mean, they've earned that. So, I know you definitely want to be playing some of your best football at this time, and it'd be nothing better than the playoffs to have those complete games to actually start happening for that full 48 minutes to, you know, go out and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it should crescendo if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So. You're right. There's no slaps left. So I mean, you know, the guys that don't play the game at a very high level, they've already put their stuff up. They're starting off season today or yesterday. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we've got our hands full with this week, and it'll be if we're, you know, I like the do or die part of playoffs.
Yeah.
There may not be another Monday.
Mm-hmm. to
So if we didn't handle what we had to handle yesterday, or if we don't handle what we have to handle today, there won't be another one. You know, so.
I mean, you don't want to leave a rock unturned. I mean, this is what you play the game for, to be playing late into November, late into December. I mean, for you to still be in playing football, you know, you're doing something right to still be out there. So
got to be something there. So anyway, you know, and again, I think we got to focus on how what we can do, and you know, we try not to ever worry about who's on the other sideline. I mean, because it's not about who's on the other sideline. It's about how good can you get, how well can you execute, and how fundamentally sound can you be on the football field. So,
and I feel like another good thing with us pretty much dominating this game for the most part, I mean, your starters got to kind of go out there and get what they need to get done, but obviously get some rest and obviously bring some other guys in who may not get as much playing time all the time. And obviously, I mean, you want to have all cylinders go when the playoffs go, so that's good for them to get some playing time and get out there, you know, get on the field, make some noise, do a little something, because, I mean, we never know what may happen.
Right.
So you always want to be prepared.
We had a lot of guys get some burn the other night. That's a good thing. Like you said, I mean, you're one play away from those guys being starters, so it's nice to be able to get some guys that you know, may not get as much time throughout. I mean, they practice all the time, but you know as well as I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Game time under the lights is a little bit different. So got some guys some good time, and you know, was fortunate enough, like you said, to be able to sit a couple of guys and you know, I don't know if rest is the right word because we would have, but they you know, it was nice. It is a team game, and it does take everybody, and some of those guys that don't always get that time on the field, it's nice to be able to get some of that.
Definitely, because I mean, like you said, you never know heat of the moment what may happen. You might just get thrown in there, so it's always good to kind of be getting some playing time under those lights, because like me and you both said, it's a whole different monster than, you know, you go through practice and everything until when your number gets called, you got to go out there and perform, you know.
Got to get it. So look forward to it. I mean, it'll be fun. This is a fun part of the year, you know, getting close to Thanksgiving and all that kind of stuff. So
and it's another thing to note. It's like, you know, some people say, you know, I've talked to people and they say there's so many similarities from kind of, you know, record and kind of, it's kind of like things are just repeating themselves almost to a point. I mean, playing Corsicana once again in the playoffs. And like I said, unfortunately, you know, we lost to College Station, but I'm saying it seems like that could be that catalyst again.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like in the back of the mind, that's something I know I would stick with me is the way, you know, we lost that game. It's like we just didn't finish.
Right.
So I feel like that's going to be something that sticks, and hopefully pushing forward, you know, that's something that everybody's got in the back of their head, like, hey, we don't want that feeling again, you know.
That was the first time, and again, I know we're kind of recapping, but that was the first time that I've seen some of our guys. We kind of identified this group as a probably not as mature a group as we've had, and I'm not going to say they're immature, may be a little strong, but I mean, you know, last year I felt like we had some guys that had been through the battles, and it was hard to shake those guys. It was hard to, and this group's a little more goofy. They just are, you know, they play their guts out, but they're a little bit more. Focus is a little bit more of a premium with this group, just because they don't have it naturally. Talking about focus, doing some of that stuff it's a little bit more of a premium with this group. And when you got a group like that, sometimes they don't get the lessons that a loss can teach you. Against College Station, for the first time, I saw like a kind of a quiet demeanor that wasn't, you know, after the midway game there was a bunch of emotion, there was a bunch of, you know, kids kicking the turf. I mean, that kind of emotion, that kind of frustration, sometimes that's just feelings, you know, and at the end of your feelings is nothing. We talk about that all the time. There's nothing at the end of it. You can throw a teetotal fit. At the end of it, there's nothing. There ain't nothing there. So for the first time, I saw kind of that quiet, like just inverted demeanor where they were really, really, really trying to process that lack of success. To me, that's when you got a chance, you know, and that's saw a different preparation kind of, you know, and then we've always prepared well. I feel like we've always prepared well. You know, I don't think we're ever unprepared to be on a football field, but I did see it go up a notch the week of Brian. You know, I did see it kind of, there was more focus. There was more, you know, urgency, I guess would be a good word. And that's what you have to have when you get into playoff season, because like I said, every step you take could lead to or attribute to the end of your season, and some of them the end of their career. So I mean, you know, it's some of those seniors they'll never play again. So I mean, it's like, okay, go half stepping if you want to, but just realize what the cost is. Don't be crying and carrying on at the end of the game if that's the case. That's my deal.
Well, y'all heard it there. I mean, you gotta have a sense of urgency, because I mean, like we said, it's do or die time, and it's the playoffs, and everybody wants to be here. Not everybody is privileged to have that chance. So, after the break, we'll come back and talk to Coach Stewart about our test with the Corsicana Tigers this week. Welcome back to the Temple Wildcat Coaches Show, brought to you by Wings Pizza and Things in Temple. Back here with Temple Wildcat head coach, Coach Stewart, and we're back to talk about the Corsicana Tigers, who will be facing once again, as we did last year. And Coach, how are they looking this year?
Yeah, they're good. They're real good. They're a better football club than they were a year ago. You know, they got a lot of kids back. Felt like we had a decent matchup last year with our D-line versus their O-line. And I think they would probably agree with you there. I think Coach Hoffman would probably agree with you there. And this year they're a lot bigger. And you know, we don't have the same guys. I mean, when you graduate 3 out of 4 starters and off on the state championship team or a state championship caliber team, you know, you're going to have. I'm really proud of our guys. I love our guys, but we're just probably not as talented as we were on the D-line a year ago. I don't think anybody would argue with that. So, you know, that's going to be more of a critical matchup right there for us. You know, they're really good. They're really well coached. They do 1,000 things on offense, and the quarterback is a coach's son, the head coach's son. So I mean, he is a straight running baller. He started last year as a sophomore, and you know what that looks like. I mean, you know, as a sophomore, he was a really good football player, but when you start 11 games as a sophomore, and then you come back, and now this will be his 11th game as a junior, I mean, he's getting into that mode where there ain't much you're going to show him that's going to rattle his cage. So he's turned into a special athlete of his own, and so, you know, he's going to be tough to deal with. A real fast kid, you know, makes good decisions. Runs the offense extremely well. You know, he doesn't need to. What you end up there when you get that kind of experience, especially a coach's kid, is you're going to have a coach on the field, which is not fun to play against. So, and you know, me being a defensive guy, that's kind of where I spend my time. Defensively, they're really fast. I know this. I went to a regional track meet and saw Corsicana, you know, running everybody off the track. They got some team speed and they move around well. So, And there's the familiarity. I mean, I like matching up people. I like going against people we've never gone against before, just because of the you know, the unfamiliarity of playing an opponent. I feel like what we do in offense and defense can be tough to deal with on 3 days' notice, but they've seen it before. So there's not going to be any surprises. There's not going to be. It's going to be whoever executes the best.
So it definitely sounds like we got us another dual threader.
Oh yeah.
On our hands. Yeah.
Yeah, he throws it, and you know, some kids. My philosophy is you get them off their launching pad. You get them uncomfortable. You get them, you know, don't let them set their feet and let them throw. And this kid, you may not take that kind of philosophy wholeheartedly into the game, because you get him off his launch pad, and he may outrun everybody on the field. So he's definitely a dual threat kid. He's a pretty gifted passer, but he can flat out go when he pulls it down, and he makes stuff happen with his feet. So. Yeah, you know, just shaving another 10 years off my life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just how it goes.
Just he's just like, you know. But it sounds like definitely somebody who we want to keep in the pocket, and obviously want to try to make him beat us by throwing, in a sense, rather than letting him get free and hurting us with his legs.
Right, and they do, and it's not just the passing stuff off. They do the dual read. You know, they read everything. They run, you know, counter read, zone read, all that kind of power read. If he likes what he sees, he's going to yank it, and you better have somebody there. You better have more than one, and you probably want to try to get him on the ground before he gets to fourth or fifth year.
So basically, something where that DN may be on the island, you know.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So. I know that was always the worst, as being a player, when you know you got one of those guys, and trust me, I've been in those situations before. I remember one of my last games in the playoffs, we had a quarterback like that. Now, our defense was designed. This D tackle goes quarterback, this D tackle goes running back. But sometimes it was just the way it went. It was so just tempting to want to go here. You're like, oh, no. And he's
well, he's the kind of kid, if you make a mistake and if you get tempted, even if you don't take it, if you just step out of, he's one of those kids that if you kind of get out of your way, if you just kind of squeeze too far, even though you may not be taking that running back, if you squeeze too far, he's out the gate. Yeah. So, he's a fun kid to watch. It sucks to play against him, but it's fun to, it's fun to watch coaches' kids. I've got a son of my own that's in 5th grade, so one of these days, God willing, maybe he has some kind of chance to do some of that. It's pretty cool. My dad got to coach me, and he said it's one of the coolest things ever. So, Coach Hoffman's a good dude. Talked to him quite a bit over the last 2 years, and they do a really, really good job of coaching these kids. The kids play hard, so I have the utmost respect for him, and to watch him. It's got to be special for him to watch his boy kind of come into a dude that, it's tough to deal with. I mean, that kid is a tough kid to plan for, because he's got so much X factor. There's only so many schemes you can put together to try to thwart that. I mean, you can do everything right and he'll still get you. Yeah. I've seen him, against Nacogdoches, against Ennis, against some of those guys. I mean, they got him dead to rights, and
still
find a way out of it. So, the magic man.
The magic man. But yeah, back to what you're saying as far as, being a coach's son, I can only imagine, hopefully, you may get that chance potentially. He stays in 5th grade, so if you're still around these parts,
if they'll keep me long enough, I
can only imagine that feeling of, your childhood, you've seen them from here, then just out here making plays, and obviously, you don't want to be too overhyped about it, but at the same time,
I'll tell you this, my dad's kind of a wooden Indian kind of guy. He don't show a whole lot of emotion, but he's told me on several occasions that it was the single coolest thing he's done in his professional career was get to coach his kid. So, and I never saw it as a player, because you can't. I mean, he was always the guy that said I had to call the coach at the office, and I get that. Exactly. I mean, my son will do the same thing. But it was, I can imagine as my son's growing up, see, my son's a ball boy for us now, and it's cool just to see him out there and doing his thing. And so I can't even imagine what it'd be like if he was out there running around downfield, nobody can tackle him. So, but again, it's a pretty cool concept. And like I said, when you go against somebody that obviously is very, very high caliber person, very, very honorable person. Coach Hoffman has been nothing but respectful, and nothing but all I hear about him is how good of a guy he is, and I see that part of it. So it's pretty cool to see that. So it'll be a tough matchup.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like, we got our hands full, but, I mean, this is playoff time. This is what you expect. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any just cakewalks coming through the door, I mean.
Well, I mean, we pulled away from them a little bit last year, but, I mean, it was a close game for a long time. They had 3 picks in the first half. I mean, their defense flies around. So it ain't like we just went up there and just slapped them around, and they just didn't take it. I mean, they're a good football. They were a good football team last year, and we got fortunate, second part of the second half of that game, but it ain't like we just walked up there and threw our jocks on the field and they ran off the field crying. I mean, they're going to come up. They're going to try to hit. They will hit us in the mouth, and we're going to have a good plan. We're going to have to execute.
All right, well, y'all heard it there. Like I said, we're going to have our hands full, and I mean, what else would you expect in the playoffs? This is what you do it for, do or die. So we should have, like I said, have our hands full with the Corsicana Tigers. But after the break, I'll be back with Coach Farrell. And welcome back to the Temple Wildcat Coaches Show, brought to you by Wings, Pizza, and Things in Temple. I'm back here with the defensive mastermind behind the Temple Wildcats, Coach Farrell here. And obviously, congrats on the win this past Friday, Coach. And obviously, like I said, it's playoff time now, do or die time. And I know everybody's excited. We got us the Corsicana Tigers again, who we actually played last year. Mm-hmm. But back before we start to get on Corsicana, I just want to talk about how do you guys feel like you performed as a defense this past Friday?
It was a good, solid week. Kept momentum. The big thing about last week was we want to continue to gain momentum and keep the ball rolling in the right direction. Kids played fast, tackled really well. Couple mistakes, things that we've got to fix, but that'll always be there. But they got the job done.
Yeah, I feel like, coming off the loss the previous week, you obviously wanted to come into the playoffs on a high note. And I feel like I was talking to Coach Stewart. This is probably one of the more complete games y'all played throughout, offense, defense, special teams, the works. So I feel like, that's definitely a high note, hopefully something to continue pushing on as we get into the playoffs because, all those little things are going to be key now. One little slight mess up could have you hanging up the pad. So I feel like that's definitely key going forward here. So, and I feel like you definitely saw a lot of good work out of our defensive line, everything Brown was doing. That's like Robert Jackson had them a really
we got really good players, got good coaches. Our defensive linemen play really well. Our D-line coaches do a great job and kind of just fits together and makes everybody else's life a lot easier.
I feel, coming into the season, I feel like obviously with him being, preseason All-State player and whatnot, a lot of eyes on him. But throughout the season, we've seen a lot of other guys, kind of step up and let their name get into a notable role as well. So, going forward, that's good to see that, an offensive line, we don't have to worry about just him. If we try to double-team him, you got to single block him, and whether you're going to be able to stop him. And then, not even talking about, DeAshton Marita, Franklin. The list could go on. We got guys in there that are just getting it done. So I feel like that's obviously something going into the playoffs that you love to see because, that battle in the trenches, I think a lot of people, me being a defensive tackle, whenever I'm watching the game, that's a lot where my eyes are, in the trenches. But, a lot of people that kind of just maybe not have the biggest football background or whatnot, they kind of just, let whoever has the ball, wherever the ball's going at all times. But those battles in the trenches really make such a key factor in games, So just like this past weekend when the Cowboys played the Falcons and their left tackle could not block Claiborne to save his life, and they didn't put anybody out there to chip or help him out or anything. And every play, Chaz Green, like when your guy has 6 sacks in an NFL game, it just shows you, hey. But
no, it's good. At the beginning of the season, our least experienced group was the D-line and the biggest question mark. Coach Stewart challenged them about being the biggest question mark, about everybody wonders how they're going to do, and it's nice that you get to the end of the regular season and people are asking, well, how about your D-line? That shows a lot of growth. It shows anytime you have a perceived weakness and people start talking about it as a possible strength, that tells you there's definite growth there and that those guys are doing their job. So I'm obviously really proud of that group because a lot was thought of them early and they raised expectations.
That shows just that's the reason you play the game, like you said, it might have been looked at as a weakness early on, and now it's looking like it's one of our stronger points. So definitely, like I'm saying, going into the postseason, that's definitely something that we have to be happy with. And obviously with this Corsicana bunch that we're going to be playing up in Waco on Friday, I know Coach Stewart was talking to me a lot about, the quarterback, coach's son, dual threat guy said, you make that one slight mistake, he could be out of the gate. So,
good quarterback, makes good decisions, throws the ball well, runs the ball well. Big O-line, running back is pretty good. They got 2 of them that play pretty well. got a tight end wide out that can go up and get it a little bit. So I mean, it's playoff football. They're a quality opponent, and you know, the playoffs, you better bring it. I mean, whoever we play, we better bring it. And of course, Canada's going to be no different. I mean, definitely a great opponent.
Definitely sounds like. I mean, that's what you. I mean, you said those are kind of your notables of what you want for a good offense. You want a big O-line that can make some holes. You want a good quarterback that can hurt you with his feet or with his arm. And then, like you said, have, you know, a good tight end, couple guys to throw to. I mean, it sounds like everything an offensive staff would want to have in their grasp.
They do have enough weapons to where they're not going to be just single-handed and definitely going here and definitely going there. They'll spread the ball around a little bit and hit all the different parts of the field.
So, I mean, like I said, that's definitely something, I mean, we want to take care of. And obviously, with it being, like I said, it's playoff time. I mean, this is do or die, so I feel like that kind of gives you guys a little extra fire. Like, hey, you know, if we don't go get out here and get it done, I mean, we'll be hanging up our stuff. And I feel like that Temple tradition, I mean, this is when we expect to be playing football, you know, late November into December, you know, and everybody else is hanging them up and everybody's joining the basketball team or whatever else they got going on. And then obviously, you know, these seniors, you know, y'all lose. I mean, some of these guys, this will be their last time putting on a pad. You know, not everybody's going to be, you know, blessed to have the opportunity to go to college or play. So
sure. I mean, Temple's a great place, and the expectations are that we're here. And the other thing, I mean, Coach Stewart has a concrete process that's in place for the playoffs and to help eliminate some of those distractions and eliminate some of the overexcitement or the increased worry or all the other psychological elements that come into the playoffs. There's a system in place here. It's a great system. I'm excited to be a part of it, to learn more of it, but you can see why these kids have success, and the more that we get them to buy into it, the better the odds that we continue to have success.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, we're so used to this playoff tradition, but obviously we know it starts somewhere. You know, there's a foundation that's been built here. Sure. And obviously, you know, these guys who have been around, these seniors who may not, some of them are kind of just now getting that spotlight and getting put into that role. You know, you've been here through the years of going to state and feeling that disappointment, you know, losing in the playoffs and feeling that disappointment. And obviously, I feel like all that's got to just be fired to, you know, want to get there and get the job done. And
that's it. It's all outside feelings. It's all perception and all those things. And one of the big things is eliminating distractions, identifying obstacles, and all of the different feelings and all the different, you know, hearsay from outside and all this other stuff. Those are things that you have to identify, and a lot of them you have to eliminate. And the things that are good you have to use to fuel your fire, and, you know, just want to keep what keeps you going and block out what's not.
All right, well, y'all heard it there from Coach Farrell. You know, we got all the obstacles, distractions got to put to the side. And our first obstacle to get over this week will be the Corsicana Tigers. They'll be playing up at Waco ISD Stadium, where we played University earlier in the year. Kickoff will begin at 7:30 p.m. against the Corsicana Tigers. And we need everybody to travel. I mean, it's playoff time. We need to have us a blue presence there. I mean, they're blue too, but, you know, the Temple blue to come blue out the stadium. And if you need to get a K-Rock 1017 shirt for the game, come see us at Wings Pizza and Things in Temple for the Wildcat lunch from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. on this coming Friday. And then if you can't make the trip to Waco ISD Stadium for the game, you can catch it at K-Rock 1017 FM on your radio dial at 1017. Pre-game show, well, the extended pre-game show this week will begin at 6:30 p.m. and kickoff will begin at 7:30 p.m. And then if you can't get that on the radio dial, you can definitely stream it from KRock1017FM.com on your online or on the KRock 1017 FM mobile app, which you can download on all your mobile devices, Android, your Google Play, your iPhone, your Apple App Store, the KRock 1017 app, and stream the game from there. And it's brought to you by Wings Pizza and Things. Good luck this week, Coach. Go Cats.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.